All right. Welcome back to the Dynasty Football Maniacs. So today we're going to cover our top tight ends. So current rankings. How are we going to rank these bad boys out? So tight ends has always been my favorite. I love the tight end. Give them love. So starting off, I know we previously ranked out our tight ends, and we had a conversation about that. But today we are going to go over overall ranking, not just rookies. So I think initially what I was kind of confused about, and this is what I wanted to bring up in a conversation with you, is I think a little disrespect is kind of going on in tight ends. I mean, tight ends are opened up a little bit. I believe in the last 2 years, that position has changed. I mean, it became more of a, like, instead of only having like four guys that normally put up the numbers in fantasy, we're on an average of about eight now, right? I mean, you got eight guys that are solid out there now that are consistent. Now, two of them are rookies, but I have this strong feeling looking at their college career, I don't think we're going to see them fall off. I don't think we're going to see Sam Laporta fall. I don't think we're going to see Dalton Kincaid fall. I do think we're going to see a rise in Trey McBride. And I honestly believe, even though he is going to be sharing the backfield at Oakland, I think if you guys are going to just push Brock Bowers away, he's going to be successful. And then you got your traditionals. You got your Mark Andrews, your Travis, your Kelsey's, George Kittle, hit and miss. But boy, when he's rolling, he's rolling. Um, Kyle Pitts is a dream. Yes, he's had good years, and last year was a better year for him. Well, maybe not. It just seems like he's always falling short. He's never in the top tier, but he's in at least the top 20, top 15. So, I mean, we got to give him enough respect for that. And then the whole quarterback room is changing in Atlanta. So that could also change because if Kirk Cousins stays healthy and he's passing, he was big with his tight ends. So that could improve Kyle Pitts. Is he a Hawkinson? I don't know. He's never had a quarterback down there that can kind of put him in that category. So this is where I'm at. Like between Hawkinson at Minnesota and Kyle Pitts, how much of an impact do you think Kirk Cousins is going to do when that occurs in Atlanta? I mean, do you think there's going to be an impact to Kyle Pitts' performance, or am I kind of hyping him up too much?
No, I think they will be. There will be a pretty big performance for him because if you go back and look, whenever Kirk Cousins was playing with T.J. Hawkinson, he was going to T.J. Hawkinson too whenever he was throwing the ball. And before T.J. Hawkinson got hurt, even with T.J. Hawkinson getting hurt, T.J. Hawkinson actually finished the number four tight end last year in fantasy. So I can really see Kyle Pitts doing extremely well, even better than a the 13th tight end. I can see him doing better than that just because of Kirk Cousins. He threw it a lot to Justin Jefferson, and then it was him, and then T.J. Hawkinson, and then whoever else the second wide receiver was on the team. So I can really see Kyle Pitts doing really well this coming year.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm like, I don't want to disrespect Kyle Pitts. I was big on Kyle Pitts when he came out. The second year, I was kind of okay with him. Third year, I kind of started losing a little bit of interest in him. But then I kind of seen him still thriving down there. I mean, like he did finish 13, but he's always been a big question mark because I always felt like he was supposed to be a bigger star than what he was. And that was just my opinion. And I maybe overrated him too much in the beginning. And yes, when he was in college, he was a bigger star. But it's definitely going to be interesting this year. So with the switches up, I wonder if Hawkinson is still going to be number 4 as a tight end with the quarterback confusion in Minnesota. And I know it might not be confusion. We might see JJ McCarthy and we might see Sam Arnold, but I still can't handle the Sam Arnold because I just think that's another flop in the wind. That's just me. But all right. I don't think we could sit here and discuss this all day. So I would love to because I think it's an interesting conversation. So what I wanted to look at is our past rankings of what we did. Pretty much the same. I mean, we're still agreeing with the current rankings. I mean, we both had Sam Laporta and Trey McBride as tier ones. We both ranked them up there. You had Mark Andrews up there. I brought Dalton Kincaid leading in the top 2. So, with that being said, do you think we should still leave Mark Andrews in a tier 2 spot or tier 1 spot and Dalton Cade leading tier 2? Or should we just eliminate? See, I just, in my opinion, I really don't, in my opinion, I don't think we should take any. I think them four, God, this is where I need you to help me get on track here. Cause I just, when I look at it, I know what everybody's thought is you shouldn't have no more than 2 tight ends in a tier because it's just not normal. But honestly, point scoring wise, I mean, these guys didn't even have half the reception as some of the other tight ends, and they still scored more fantasy points. So Mark Andrews had an injury. So yes, he finished lower than normal. But that was an injury he came back from. And yes, Isaiah likely came up and did a really good job. But that's the only impact Mark Andrews had. If Mark Andrews had played, he wouldn't be ranked what he was at the end of the season, which was 15. I mean, he'd be up there in the top 5, most likely. So, with that being said, I agree with you initially. We should keep Mark Andrews in tier 1. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, I think we can, but I would put him behind Dalton Kincaid though, just because of being with Josh Allen and other than Keenan Coleman, that wide receiver that they drafted in the draft. I mean, I feel like Dalton Kincaid would be the next guy to get the targets from Josh Allen. So, but I would keep at least both of them two in tier 1.
And see, I felt the same way, but I figured us talking through and looking at our previous rankings, I just don't agree with people shutting them out yet. Because I think both of them are all them 4 guys right there. I mean, you need to grab them. I mean, these are tight ends that are not your typical tight ends. I mean, Sam Laporta had 120 targets, 86 receptions, did 889 yards and 10 touchdowns, and had 1 attempt at a rushing, which was 4 yards. That's pretty impressive. Trey McBride, what a surprise. I mean, I didn't see that one coming. And then you kind of built that hype up real quick and then got me looking. I'm like, I was really in love with their tight end prior, but then he come along. It's like, Zach Ertz, where are you at now? I mean, this guy's here.
Yeah,
And no disrespect to Zach Ertz. He had a great career in the NFL. And yes, he's still continuing his career, but the last 2 years, he's not been able to, well, actually, his last 3 years, he's not been able to stay healthy. So, I mean, it's not his fault. I mean, it's just the way they use him and abuse him. And in the end, it ends up affecting his fantasy. And other than that, I still love Zach Ertz. I would still have him on my backup roster. And if he's playing, if I need him, I'd throw him in there.
yeah,
So,
I really like Trey McBride because I feel like he's gonna have a really breakout year, especially the when Kyler Murray came back from his injury and was super targeting him. So I really got a lot of high hopes for him.
all right. So, I mean, clearing out our top tier 1, we got Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, and Mark Andrews. I think these are great picks. I wouldn't worry too much about Mark Andrews. I think it was a high leg spring or something like that he had last year. I'm not sure. I know it wasn't that severe. He come back, so he's good. Uh, The tier two, I really don't think we should even change it. I'm happy with tier two. I'm happy with Kyle Pitts leading it. I'm fine with Brock Bowers being behind him because of youth. This is dynasty. And even in redraft, I'd be fine with that. TJ Hawkinson, you can't throw him away until he ain't doing it. I mean, yes, he had Kirk Cousins. He did great up in Minnesota, but I think he's going to be fine. I think he's still going to be a top tight end. And you can't kick Travis Kelsey out of there, no matter the age. I mean, Travis Kelsey is Travis Kelsey. He's a beast. He's going to be a beast. And there's nothing you can steal away. Unless the man's injured, I don't see him not finishing in the top 10 at all. And George Kittle, like I said, how do you take them two guys out? They're not ready to be taken out of that equation. I mean, they're them guys that are going to finish their career like this unless something drastically changes. So I mean, I cannot disrespect him. Now I feel like I'm disrespecting Evan Ingram, but I'm not because he's not always had a good season. And yes, he had a great season last year. And yes, he finished pretty top. I think he finished what was it?
It was pretty
Second.
high.
Yeah, second. So that's pretty impressive, but that ain't his normal routine. So he's not had always number two production. Um,
Yeah, he just had a breakout year.
and he's up in the same age as Travis Kelsey and them. I mean, he's
It
not,
took it took 7 years for him to finally become something.
and it could have been, you got to look at Jacksonville. Okay, let's take a look at that whole offense. You got a decent running back crew. Your wide receivers, please help us, but they're all right. And Trevor Lawrence ain't that bad of a quarterback. I mean, he's not like, I mean, he's a good quarterback, I guess you could say. I mean, I don't want to hype him up too high, but I just think that helped the whole situation last year. But I could be wrong. So
No, it
I
did.
yeah. So I'm definitely good with just having Kyle Pitts, Brock Bowers, TJ Hawkinson, and Travis Kelsey and George Kittle, the top nine tight ends. That's finishing off tier two because after that, there's nobody below that needs to jump up to tier two yet. Now there's question marks like Njuka, he's a hit and miss. He's at Cleveland. So I kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't,
he only did good whenever Joe Flacco was on the field.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, how do you, I mean, and Joe Flacco, wow, even at his age, he still amazes me. But I guarantee you put Tom Brady out there, you'd have the same reaction. You'd be like, oh, wow. I mean, it's like, the difference between him and Tom Brady is Tom Brady won 7 championships and he was a little older than Joe Flacco and he called it at his time. Joe Flacco's still holding in there. I know, I mean, nothing against Joe Flacco. He's a great quarterback, but he is what he is right now. Jake
Right.
Ferguson. Ugh. I've always loved, and as an Eagles fan, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it because I did love Zeke Elliott too. But I also always loved Dallas's tight ends. I think Dallas has always been good at drafting tight ends. I don't understand. That's the only thing Dallas has ever got right. And they draft so good, they end up having to let good players go because they got too big of a room. And I just don't understand how, I guess it's just their coaching staff down there, their recruiters. It's something about the way they're scouts. It's just the way they look at things. It just tight ends flow through Dallas. I mean, and Jack Ferguson, he's in that range. You had Dallas Gottert at one time, and now he's at Philadelphia. God, who else did you guys had? You had Zach Ertz at one time too, didn't you?
No, we never had Zach Ertz.
No, not Zach Ertz. Who was the other guy you guys had? Oh, Dalton Schultz. I'm sorry, I mixed
Yeah,
the two
we
up.
had Dalton Schultz. And we also had Jason Witten.
Mm-hmm. That was another top end tight end back in the day. I mean, you could get him on your fantasy team, you know you were doing something. It was kind of like equal to a Kelsey, but Kelsey maybe a little bit better. Um, so I'll give Dallas credit on that. Um, so I was real impressed with Comet the last 2 years. and it seemed like he picked up a little bit better last year, but that's because Justin Fields started passing more. I don't know the whole situation now with Caleb Williams, and I didn't pay much attention to his college years to know if he dunked to the tight end a lot. I know he was kind of like a wide open passer, but I wasn't that involved in what he did. So I don't know, but I think Comet will do good. I think he'll finish in the top 20. Um, Ben Sennett, I have a lot of high hopes for him, and you do too. I know we both agreed on him coming out of college. I think he's in a good situation. I think he's in a great
Oh
situation
yeah.
with Washington. So I'm kind of fine with that. Now, that's the tier 3, but now I look at it and here I come again questioning myself. But honestly, is it time to drop Dalton Schultz to the 4th tier? I mean, now I understand.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll let you go.
I would put him at leading the 4th tier, and that's only because of all the other talented tight ends that are in front of him. And you also got to realize, well, he finished at the 10th tight end, which was pretty good. But I mean, you also add Stephon Diggs to this offense as well. You got a lot of mouths to feed, so it'll be kind of interesting to see if he can finish as a top 10 tight end again this year. But I'd still put him at leading in the 4th tier.
What about Pat for Pittsburgh? I mean, his injury kept him down last year, but honestly, the year before it wasn't that significant where I don't understand why we still have him in tier 3. I mean, I understand that's Pittsburgh's tight end. I get that. They also had Desnell Washington. They have other tight ends. His production rate, I mean, I know it's because of an injury. So, like, I bite my tongue, but I'm looking at past history too. I mean, honestly, in his career, I mean,
I would put him, if we are going to put him in tier 4, which I'm okay with, I'd at least put him in front of Dalton Schultz due to the fact of age. And Russell Wilson likes to throw to the tight end if since Russell Wilson right now is going to be starting. So I at least put him in starting like leading the tier 4, and then I put Dalton Schultz right behind him.
so now we're into tier 4. We're looking at Dalton Schultz and Pat Furman from Pittsburgh.
Fire Muth.
Firemuth. Oh, I couldn't get that out.
Fire Muth.
Firemuth.
Yeah. Hey,
So
hey, don't worry. It happened to me too when I first started learning how to say his name.
yeah, it's a rough name, but yeah, I'm in total agreement of that order with him above Dalton Schultz because of Schultz age.
Oh
But
yeah.
now my other concern about tier 4 is I guess it's the unsurety that we got Luke Musgrave and Tucker Craft there because Tucker Craft came in at the end of the season. Luke pretty much had the job at the beginning of the season. They pretty much shared the points, shared receptions. I mean, everything was consistent between the two. So I guess we're in tier 4. We know they're going to
Hmm.
both be starting. We know Green Bay does the double tight ends and a run back. So I mean, I get it. So I guess I'm fine with that. I do agree with Isaiah Likely because if Mark Andrews goes down, I'm guaranteeing we'll probably see the same numbers we see. And then I got to thinking about that. I wonder if it's just Baltimore's offense because when has Baltimore had a bad tight end? I mean, not putting Mark Andrews out as like not a good tight end. He's a great tight end, but I mean, if you looked at the numbers when he was out, Isaiah Likely wasn't too far from his numbers. I mean, he was dead on them. I mean, it was just,
Well, I
I think
mean,
it's the format.
La-
I think
Lamar likes throwing to the tight ends,
that's
and I
probably what.
mean, especially when you don't really necessarily have a number one wide receiver. I mean, yeah, you got a speculation of people saying Zay Flowers, or people are still holding on to the belief that Rashad Bateman is going to break out to be the number one guy. But I mean, until there's a bona fide wide receiver stud, the tight ends are going to get their love.
Yeah. So I believe in Cade Otton from Tampa. I think he done very well. And he showed even before Brady lost that he was kind of taking that back, but he's still not like, I mean, he's just like at the low range of tight ends. So I'm happy where he's at. The only issue I have with tier 4 right now is Noah Fant. I understand that he's the guy, but I think he should lead tier 5. I do not feel comfortable putting him in tier because I even read I mean, he's not even a guaranteed right now. They're having issues currently in OTAs with this guy, and we're still ranking him a tier 4. I mean, the health condition is not there. He's never really showed. He's only shown flashes. He's not shown enough to continue to even be up there. And I know each year we drop him back and back, but I think 4. I know it's at the low end of 4. I just at the end of the day, I can't put him in 4 in my group. I cannot put him in 4. I'd have to take him out, and that's the only complaint. Because Jatavian Sanders, he's a rookie, and he's going to be the lead tight end at the Carolina Panthers. So I kind of see him staying in tier 4 because we really don't know which way he's going to go. His college shows that he'll be a good tight end. So I'm good with that. And then I'm going to butcher this guy's name, but he's a Tennessee guy, Okonoa or something.
Just call him Chiga.
Chiga. I'm fine with
Yeah, just
Chiga
call him
being
Chiga.
Chiga
Yeah.
fine being in tier 4. I mean, I see him improving. I don't think he's going to be any better than that next year. I think he's been in the NFL for a while. We're going to see him slowly come out, but right now he's perfectly fine where he's at.
So you want to know what I found interesting in tier four? Luke Musgrave. He was kind of projected, I guess, as the starting tight end.
Yes.
But I mean, they have both Luke Musgrave and Tucker Craft in the same tier, and they're both relatively close to each other. Now, normally, this is what I've noticed in the past and stuff. Normally, when they do, when they have two tight ends and they're not relatively sure of which one, like, they're not relatively sure that they'll get close to each other. It's like, yeah, we still kind of give the edge to Luke Musgrave, but it's kind of like they're keeping Tucker Craft in the back of their minds, wondering, but if it swings this way, Craft could be this because. But in all honesty, I really do believe Luke Musgrave's got the tight end job. So I really don't even know why you would put Tucker Craft in here in tier 4, in my opinion.
I'm good with that. I was actually debating about dropping him all the way down to 5 too. It like Ryan.
Because I mean, Luke Musgrave, like, yeah, it was his first year, but so was Tucker Craft. But I mean, we saw who Jordan Love went with Luke Musgrave most of the time, and even then, with the receivers that they got, with the uncertainty of which one's going to be the star, that could just the wide receivers in Green Bay could really just cannibalize each other, and it could leave the door. It could go either way. It could either make Luke Musgrave a top 20 tight end, or the cannibalizing of all the wide receivers in Green Bay could lead to one of the, like, it'll just lead to nobody really being the bona fide, star in this Green Bay offense, in fantasy terms. So, in all honesty, I would even, like, I know we're talking tight ends, but just in weapons in general, I'm a little, because I would be really kind of concerned about any of the Green Bay weapons because you don't really know how it's going to turn out. we don't really know who Jordan Love's super bona fide star is yet.
Yeah, but the
To
thing
me,
is,
anyways.
yeah, well, looking at his patterns last year, and this is Jordan Love, the way he threw the ball. A good quarterback always has a favorite tight end. I don't think he's distinguished which tight end his favorite yet is, but he does drop it off to the tight end because when you put the numbers together, you get the same numbers as all the other guys. So he does dunk it off. He utilizes the tight end a lot. It's just at this point, I think the team is deciding which tight end is going to lead the room. And they have two good guys. I believe what hurt Luke Musgrave last year is I think he kind of worked something, and then they brought in Kraft, and he kind of did his little thing. I think this year will be our this year will tell us who that guy is going to be. I believe at that point we'll know which tight end leads that room there if either one of them does it. I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that Luke is going to get it just because of what I saw last year. I saw some flashes, and most of the times you see some flashes from any rookie, I mean, that's very promising for the future.
So I'm good. So right now I'm taking Tucker Craft and Noah Fant out of tier 4. And
Hmm.
I'm putting them two. I'm putting Tucker Craft ahead of Noah Fant, and I'm letting Tucker Craft lead the tier 5 room. As I look at tier 5, we got now Tucker Craft, Noah Fant, and Greg Dulrich from Denver, and then Hunter Henry, and then you got Juan Johnson, and then Theo Johnson, which is a rookie at Giants, Jalen Woods. We really
John
still we're
Smith.
still trying to put Woods up there as a legitimate tight end. I mean,
Well, I mean, he's a starter for Indy, so I mean, it makes sense, and just in my opinion, it makes sense because he's actually a starter. So being a starter, in a lot of cases, from what the names I'm seeing, usually gets you ahead. But the my thing is, why are we still putting Taysom Hill in tier 5?
oh, Taysom here, yeah, he's not done yet. He's a he's not a tight end position. His fantasy points are relevant for tight end position because he plays multiple positions and you can put him in a tight end. I'm fine if he leads tier 5, ends tier 5, begins tier 6. I don't think he's really I don't I his numbers would not say he comes out of tier 5 because all the guys in tier 5, tier 4, he scores more. Only one guy would beat him, and that's Dalton Schultz. And I know it's not because he plays the tight end position. He's a utility player.
What's really hard for me to put him even on the tight end tier list because they use him more than a tight end.
But
I
for
mean, they're
fantasy, it's a benefit to us.
yeah, but I hate playing Taysom Hill because every time I used to play him, I never got any damn thing from him. And
Well, see,
anytime I
me on the
didn't
other
play
hand,
from him,
he's benefited me several times. I got very
yeah,
lucky with
yeah,
him.
but it's just crazy because most of the time he's just more of either the running with the ball in the backfield. And yeah, because he only had 40 targets and 33 receptions this year, which only
Well,
led to 291 yards and two touchdowns. So that just goes to show that he was all about throwing the ball. Well, he threw the ball some, but he really was really helpful in the running game. And that's where he's going to be utilized in this year because I done saw reports where he was taking snaps at the running back. But
and he's still going to be listed as a
it,
tight end. So, I mean, so just let's take a break back. I understand your concern, but since 2019, 4 points, tight end position, and now it's just not playing tight end because all them years he's been a utility player. He's had a better record than some tight ends that's only been out for 3 years. So he's the lowest he's ever been ranked is 21. Then he was ranked 20th. Then he was ranked 10. Then he was ranked ninth. And then he was ranked 12th last year. I honestly think he will still finish in the top 20 as a tight end position. So when it comes to fantasy, it doesn't matter what position he plays. He's relevant. Now, on your side of it, I get your argument. He didn't help you out. I get it. On my side of it, he benefited me and a lot of other players because of his utility, or we were strangling on tight ends, and that's all we had. I like to draft a guy. I love putting him on my bench. The only reason I cut him in one of my dynasty leagues is I didn't have room on my roster and I had better options to put in the tight end position. That's the thing. He's listed as a tight end, so I can't put him under quarterback. I can't.
Well, Sleeper, actually on Sleeper, they got him tight end slash quarterback.
Yeah, they do now.
So,
So
yes. Oh, they had him that way the past few years.
yeah. So either
So,
way, I
that's
just I
just cheating.
for fantasy points, you can't discredit him that much. I mean, I just
Yeah,
can't
but
do that to
I'm
the
not.
guy.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna sit here and call him tight end because he's not a tight end. That's just my opinion.
But we got to put him in that ranking because he's not under anybody else's ranking.
Well, I am going to. Well, there's a reason why. I'm gonna let you put him in the ranking since he is your guy. As I'm not ranking him at all, but in the
All right.
tight end stuff. So I'm gonna give you the honors.
I appreciate it on this one. So we're not always going to agree, and I get it. So my
But
confusion is Jalen Woods. Why is he still up there? Why 3 years now in the NFL and he's yet to do? I know he's the starter, but he's yet to do anything. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, what is Indianapolis doing with him? I don't understand. Oh, did I just okay? Clicked on the wrong button. I mean, I look at
well, I mean, you got to
oh,
realize
did it
he's
again.
still young.
Yeah, that's where I'm giving him credit. Um, so I'm looking here and tabbed as the breakout performer by Boyd Woods. Okay, this is an article I'm reading about him.
Yeah, a lot of people
So
think it's his
they
year
they
this
think this
year.
is his year. They think this is his
I
year.
I really think they think it's this year, and honestly, I'm really rooting for him to be this year.
Well, he's off my team now, and I wanted him back on my team if it was going to be his year. I mean, we should have talked about this last year before I got rid of him. So
Well,
now I'm
I mean,
upset.
who knew you were going to get rid of him? But
Yeah.
mm,
Okay, I'm good with leaving him there because reading what I just read and what you said, I know 3 years.
well, he just
Sometimes I guess positional, you get set behind someone and you don't get your opportunity because there was a running back just recently that
I,
just blew up.
and I just looked it up. Last year, he actually wasn't the starter.
No, he wasn't.
It was Moali Cox that was actually the starter for the past 2 years. But
Yep.
Moali Cox isn't there now in Jelani Woods' time, so that's the reason why. That's the reason why I'm keeping him where he is because he has a chance to have a breakout year since he's now finally taken over the reins.
Right. So okay, I'm good with that. Um Gerald Everett, Chicago. I mean, what's your feelings about him? They
Mm-hmm.
got him in the I guess that's fine because I mean he's backing up Colmet and he put up points last year. So yeah, I could
I still think he's gonna make a splash here and there,
yeah,
especially if they do a two tight end set or if Cole Kmet comes out for a breather. I still believe they can. I still believe they can actually go out. He can go out there and make a couple of splashes. So I'm okay with putting him right there. But if I'm going to ask you this to see if you agree with me on it, but I really don't see the point in keeping Dawson Knox in tier 5 now.
I kind of debated it having him lead 6 versus 5 just due to the fact
I,
that he doesn't catch as much as he used to.
and I would put Tyler Conklin up there due to the fact that Tyler Conklin is Yes, he's going to be playing with Aaron Rodgers, and we still have to see what Aaron Rodgers is now after that whole Achilles tear last year. But I mean, everyone has hopes of him slinging the ball like he usually does because they're all high on Garrett Wilson. So, Rodgers in the past has always liked to throw to a tight end as well. So, I would at least put Tyler Conklin at tier 5 and put Dawson Knox down at 6 because from what all indications point and what I've all seen is Buffalo is just ready for Dalton Kincaid to take over the tight end room. They're already bolstered him up since last year on it. So that is just my take on that.
And I actually agree with you. I mean, and even if Aaron Jones don't come back, or not Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers. Jesus, there I am, mixing names up again. I can't even get my kids' names right. Uh Aaron Rodgers, even if he don't come back, I think Tyler Conklin will have a good year. He did last year, a decent year for a tight end. I do believe we should give him enough respect to put him in a tier 5. And I think he's doing his job. And I
Right.
believe Dawson Knox did fall off a lot last year because of Dalton Kincaid's performance. And I think we're going to see more of it. But he's a good guy to draft. If you got excuse me, if you got Dalton Kincaid and you have an opportunity to draft Dawson Knox behind him, I would for your backup just in case something happens to Kincaid. I mean, he ain't injury proof. So,
Well, I mean,
and
I
and
understand,
and
but
Dawson Knox was a good tight end before Dalton Kincaid came. But yeah, I'm good with putting him in tier 6. So
right.
on right below him, we got Mike Ginsky for Cincinnati, which used to play with Miami. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I understand he's starting because he's older, senior, but the new rookie, Eric All Jr. is coming out and they got him right behind him. I get that because I think just looking at Mike's performance last year and going into this year and how many years he's been in the NFL, I think Eric All will end up being the tight end at Cincinnati. And I think Joe Burrow's been looking for that tight end to throw to. And I'm wondering if that's the guy that's going to end up leading the room. I mean,
I, I can see that.
so I'm happy with the way they got that ranked out. And then you got Daniel Billinger for New York Giants. Yeah, I get that. I honestly
I
think I
think
would go ahead. I was going to
I
move
had
him
a I
down.
had a take I had a take on Dylan Bellinger, and I know they have Theo Johnson up in tier 5, which makes sense. But I've also saw where he's already having some soft tissues problems in training camp,
Theo Johnson?
which yeah, I mean, I've saw a couple reports here recently. It's not like this doesn't happen twice or anything, but it was the first thing that was brought up. But and I could be wrong, could have been another giant, but either
Nope.
way,
You're completely right. I'm reading it right now about him being
okay. Uh,
so Friday they did not seem limited, potential meaning a near return to action off the pup list. So they're fixing to pull him off the pup list. But yes, he had earlier had some kind of issue.
and right now, a lot of that's not like a too big of a concern, but it can be if it keeps popping up. So
What
I wouldn't really yes, I mean I would keep Dylan Bellinger still on tier 6, but I actually I would still put him there actually now that I'm talking to myself about it, but I still think there is a chance if Theo Johnson, if he keeps dealing with the soft tissues injuries throughout the year, I can still see Daniel Bellinger actually rising up a little bit. But that was just my whole. I would can keep him right there. I'm okay with that, unless you were gonna try to bring him down some.
I was going to take him down. I probably wasn't going to take him out of tier 6 just due to the fact that he is second behind Theo, anyways. And he did perform somewhat decent. At anything better out of the room than what they already had. Um, so I mean, I wasn't going to take him down too far. I thought Cade Stover, Luke Schoonmaker, Hayden Hurst, Kalen Grinson, and Daryl Washington. Well, not maybe Daryl Washington. Noah Gray should be above Daryl Washington, Darnell Washington, and
He should actually be pretty low,
yeah, Daryl
in my
Washington.
opinion.
Daryl Wa- Darnell Washington should not even be in the tier six. I want to take him out. I mean, he is not. He's only his second year in. He's still not. I mean, there's just too much in front of him. And even when he had the opportunity last year at Pittsburgh, he didn't do it. So, I mean, he's a blocker. He's a good tight end for blocking. So I want to
Right.
put him at the lead of 7
I'm okay
and
with
just
that.
and kind of limit some of this room of 6 here because this room of 6 is full. Um, I'm fine with Daniel Billinger. He had a good argument. I guess where he's at is where he needs to be because everybody we're talking below are just like second. Well, except for Hayden Hurts and Jack Hurt. Hayden Hurts, Hurst, and Zach Ertz. Names so similar and pronounced the same. I'm having difficulties here. We should never say them two names in the same
Was
conversation.
that so far right now? Hang on. Continue with your topic as I look this up to make sure I'm not. I actually got my facts right. Because I was going to deal with something with Zach Ertz. Okay, no, right now they do have him starting.
Yeah, they
So
have him starting, but he's coming off an injury. So is Hayden.
I really think Vincent is going to take that over.
I think he will too. I think same thing we've seen at
I mean,
Arizona.
I mean, as good as Zach Ertz has been, he just can't stay healthy.
Well, see, that's where I'm at. I'm good with him being in
And
tier
don't forget,
6.
yeah, yeah, don't forget Tyler Conklin's also a starter too on this list, on tier 6 list. The
Well,
rest,
we
from what I'm seeing, is actually backups.
yeah, well, we moved Tyler up to 5. We took him out of 6. So Tyler Conklin for New Jersey, we got him
I
ending
know.
tier 5.
I know to repeat sometimes.
That's all right. Um, I know.
Hmm.
So I get okay. Los Angeles Rams. You got. Well, I mean, he did all right when he filled in. So I mean, I can leave him there. Kobe.
Well, he could have that spot if Tyler Higbee, gets hurt again because Tyler Higbee has a real bad
Yeah,
injury problem, so he could have a shot at taking that over as well.
yeah. So let me see. I guess the bottom one to take out of here would be Irv Smith Jr. I don't see the reason why we have him in tier 6. I think he should go
You know,
behind Jaheim Bell above Darnell Washington, and he should lead 7. And then that would give you your top 50 tight ends, and that would kind of clean up the room for 6. And I feel a little bit better with that because at the end of the day, I think there was just too many people. Let's
I
see
can
here.
agree with that.
So we're going to do this red right here so I can see where we're at.
So, okay, so let me bring this up real quick because I noticed this. Well, we already took down one Kansas City tight end, but now they have two more up here.
And the reason why I'm good with leaving them 2 in there, Noah Gray did really well when Kelsey was out, but he didn't have a lot of opportunities. But when he did have the opportunities, he showed shine. I honestly think they're going to end up trading Noah Gray. They drafted Jarrett Wiley, and he did really good. And I think Smith is just a guy they got there. And I honestly don't see him doing, he's just a blocker. So at the end of the day, if anything happened to Kelsey, I think Noah Gray will lead tight end room at Kansas City. That's why he should be above Jarrett Wiley, unless something changed drastically in a play where they said, "Oh wow, he's someone special. We'll bring him up." Um, but I think we've talked about that before in that tight end room. That there's a good chance that they would utilize Noah Gray elsewhere, and I just think he's a good tight end. I don't see why we would pull him out of 6 for any reason.
So,
And Jarrett
so you
Wiley is really a good tight end coming out of college.
okay? So I'm guessing I think I already know which way you're leaning to. So who you think is going to take over the tight end job when Kelsey leaves?
I think that's going to decide this year. I think it's going to be between them two guys. At the end of the
Well,
day,
take a pick.
take a pick right now.
Take a pick. Yeah.
Uh, I think they're going to lean more towards Jarrett Wiley once he shows himself.
Okay.
I
Okay.
still think
Betting
they're
on the
going to use.
rookie.
Yeah, I'm betting on the rookie, and I think they're going to end up trading off Noah Gray, or because I think Noah Gray's good enough to stay, but I think Kelsey's still got another 3 years. I don't see him going anywhere next year unless a drastic injury happens. I mean,
Or
he gets
he
married to
wins
Taylor
another Super
Swift,
Bowl.
huh?
Oh, well, yeah, that too. Either that or he wins another Super Bowl. I think if they win one more Super Bowl, I think he might. I think he might be done because I mean, you'll be like one of the tight. You'll be like one of the tight ends who's won the most Super Bowl. Well, behind Gronk, of course.
Well, Gronk didn't
Um,
win as many as Tom Brady. He won what?
was
Let's see. He wasn't there his
he
first year.
won?
Tom Brady won. He wasn't there the second year. Tom Brady won. He came in later. I mean, how many Super Bowls does Gronk have? Let's see. I'm
That's
curious
what
now.
that's what I'm looking up now.
We're gonna have to do some information searching here.
He won four.
He's won 4 out of the 7.
He won
So
three. He won three
at New England
in
and one at
New England
Tampa,
and the one in Tampa.
and then you got who has already got 3? Kelsey. He needs one more and he's tied. I think he'll stay for 5. I don't think he'll leave not being the best tight end of all. I mean,
No, yeah, you're right. But I still think he would probably leave at that point. I mean, he's got Taylor Swift. I mean, good God, you have all that money right there just waiting for you to basically put a ring on it. I mean, what else could you want? I mean,
I'm
if
not putting.
you wanted the damn island, you could get her to buy you a damn island. I mean, good grief.
Oh my God. Mm. But no, I'm good with that. So that gives us our top 50 tight ends. And I think we went pretty deep with that. I'm really
Yeah,
excited.
we went to the nasty boys.
Yeah. I'm excited for this year's tight end group. I see a lot of young rookies coming out. I see a lot of potential. I know we covered them in other shows in a little bit more detail on yardage and what they can do in performance.
Yeah,
Still
but
very high on.
that's why everybody can go watch them episodes if they want to know more.
Yeah, it's probably one of our biggest views, actually. So I like Jatavian Sanders. I think he's going to do really great. I'm excited to see what Eric All does. I'm excited to see if that's the tight end that Joe Burrow grabs. And I think he's like, I kind of wish I had grabbed him earlier, but I mean,
Mm,
he comes out this year, don't he? So I have a chance to draft him in one of my dynasties. So
yeah, yeah,
I'm
you
giving
do.
too much away. So if you're anybody listening, if you're drafting Eric Hall, you need to grab him in the first round because after that he's going to be gone. Okay.
Well, I think that's a little too steep for me, so y'all can have at it.
Oh well, some people are allowed to exaggerate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. So if you guys like the content, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And like you say,
Make sure you share because sharing is caring.
that's right. Sharing is caring.